ride to Zion National Park. It was late and the sun had just dropped below the mountains as I rode into the little valley I call home. I knew my wife would be worried as it was getting late, and I had left the impression I would be home earlier than Destiny had planned. Perhaps I should start at the beginning of this journey. 2 days earlier, on a clear, cool Wednesday morning, 4 of us all met on our motorcycles in a parking lot of one of our local stores. Mark was riding a Yamaha Super Tenere, Jason was on a Suzuki 650 V-Strom, Murray was on a Honda Valkyrie, and I was on a Suzuki 1000 V-Strom. The time was 7 a.m. and our goal for the day was Zion National Park, where we had reservations at Watchman Campground. The ride out of the valley was headed east into the sun, but within a few short miles we would hit Interstate 17 and head north toward Flagstaff, Arizona. A short hop onto Interstate 40 would bypass the worst of the morning traffic in Flagstaff and position us for a quick stop at a gas station for coffee and a snack, as well as a chance to warm up our hands. From there we headed north on 89A across the reservation. Another few miles and we stopped in Cameron, Arizona for gas and a rest stop. It was the perfect weather for such a trip. The heat of the Arizona summer was gone now, and it was early November and my favorite time of year. A few more miles and we were at Marble Canyon. I had wanted to stop at the Navajo Bridge Monument, but it was closed for repairs, so we just stopped at the local convenience store and took a short break. From there we rode to Jacob Lake, where we stopped for lunch at the local restaurant. They had a roaring fire in the fireplace and it was warm and inviting. From there we descended down the mountain to Fredonia, Arizona and over the Utah state line to Kanab, Utah. A few more miles and we were in Mount Carmel, Utah, where Murray had made reservations at a motel there. After he checked in, we all headed on to Zion. The ride into Zion is spectacular. The curvaceous roads twisting through the rock formations is an experience not to be missed. Our ride ended where we checked into our campground. It was 5 p.m. The sun was fading fast, so we quickly set up our tents. As soon as the sun set behind the rock monoliths, the air cooled quickly. Thursday morning was very cool, and the campground was in the shade till around 9:30. I went for a short hike and got to see several mule deer grazing on the local fauna. Mark and Jason rode into town for coffee, and I walked into Springdale to stretch my legs and see what was new in town. Later, after Murray arrived, we all rode up Zion Canyon. Being a weekday in November, the shuttles were not running, so that meant we could ride the bikes all the way up to the Temple of Sinawava. I had hoped to stop there and hike up to the beginning of the Narrows, but the traffic was fierce and no parking was to be had, so we opted for parking spots back down the canyon. Later we were able to find parking at Zion Lodge, and so Murray and I hiked up the Virgin River to the grotto and back to the grotto trail and on to the lodge. The canyon was alive in colors and wildlife as well as tourists. Our visit was short but sweet and left us longing to return to soak up more of what Zion has to offer. Friday, and it was time to head home. To add a little interest to the ride, we decided to follow the Virgin River to Hurricane, Utah, where Murray had spent the night in a motel. I rode on over to Hurricane early, and Mark and Jason followed after they got packed up. From Hurricane, we rode through Colorado City and on to Fredonia, where we took a short break from riding. Then off again to Jacobs Lake and lunch. The rest of the trip was pretty much the reverse of the first day. It was a great 3 days, and I had a lot of fun riding, hiking, and visiting with Mark, Jason, and Marie. I look forward to the next time we can all strike out on another adventure.